ballots are out and the countdown to the 2022 midterm election is on.
It's a battle for the top job in Colorado between incumbent Democratic Governor Polis and Republican challenger Heidi Ganahl. Denver 7 is getting you prepared for the races and breaking down the issues impacting Coloradans.
Now, the Senate is a 50-50 tie, and even if one seat can flip Republican, it's a whole new ballgame for the GOP next year. We begin with the two candidates in Colorado's hot Senate race, Senator Michael Bennet and political newcomer Joe O'Dea.
60-year-old Republican Joe O'Dea is the son of a Denver cop. He started and runs a successful Denver-based construction company and has never run for political office. And while that last part is certainly rare, what makes him a unicorn in the MAGA-era GOP? He doesn't support Trump, doesn't believe the election was stolen, doesn't want Trump to run again, and says if he does, he will actively campaign against him. Well, the former president didn't take kindly to those comments, and in response called O'Dea a rhino, Republican in name only, and posted this on social media. MAGA doesn't vote for stupid people with big mouths. Good luck, Joe. So let's start there with Mr. O'Dea, who stays stubbornly on message regardless of the question.
Were you surprised he went after you, and how does it feel to have that bully spotlight shined on you?
Well, I'm not a politician, I'm a contractor, said what I said, but we built a huge coalition here in Colorado. It's good Trump supporters, GOP, Republicans, it's independents, it's disgruntled Democrats. They're excited about this race because I present a change. And right now what people are talking about are the failed policies of the Biden and Bennet regime that are crushing working Americans. They're talking about inflation, talking about cost of gas, they're talking about record crime here in Colorado. That's what people are focused on.
So it's not bothering you?
Nothing bothers me.
O'Dea sounds more like Republican politicians used to before Trump. He does not sound like a Republican making his electoral debut in the conspiracy-filled, election-denying days of 2022. O'Dea talks about lowering taxes, reducing debt, and shrinking the federal government.
If you just could, what are three things you would change in or about the federal government? Either policies, size, laws to enact or get rid of, that you could just go, yeah, I'm here, these are the three things I want changed?
Well, first off, we've got to cut back on the bureaucracies. They've been growing at an exponential rate for years. Second thing we've got to end is this war on American energy. We've got to get our energy policy back in line if we want to get ahead of inflation. And the third thing we need to do is we need to start working together on good policies that are good for Colorado. I'm going to reach across the aisle. Partisanship has got to stop. We need to start focusing on what's good for Colorado, and that's what I'll do as your next U.S. Senator.
O'Dea opposes abortion after 20 weeks, with exceptions for rape and incest, or to protect the life of the mother. However, in 2020, he signed a petition supporting Prop 115, which would have banned abortion at 22 weeks with no exceptions for rape or incest.
Do you regret signing the petition for Prop 115?
I've always been against late-term abortion. Michael Bennet, however, he actually embraces late-term abortion up to including the moment of birth. I think that's reckless. He wants to use taxpayer dollars to pay for that.
Well, since O'Dea mentioned Senator Bennet, I reached out to Bennet's office and received the following response. Michael is grateful to live in a state where women's access to reproductive health care is protected. His views on abortion align with a majority of Coloradans. In the 8 months since Russia invaded Ukraine, O'Dea has said the U.S. should stand with Ukraine and that Russian President Putin is a menace to the world. O'Dea has supported some of the security assistance the U.S. has provided to Ukraine, but says it can't be a blank check.
So what is the limit, either in monetary terms, in timeline, or in goals achieved or not met? What does that look like to you?
Well, look, this has been caused by a reckless foreign policy that Biden is in charge of. This abandonment of Afghanistan showed the weakness that we have. That's why Russia invaded. I believe we need responsible funding. I believe that we need some oversight on that money that we send there. But I also believe Ukraine should have the right to determine their own freedom, and I'll stand behind that.
So no monetary limit. We're at $17.5 billion. You're like, is $20 billion too much? Is $50 billion too much?
Well, I think what we need to do is make sure that we back the Ukrainian people. We stand behind them. They're fighting for their freedom over there. We need to provide them what they need so they can secure themselves. But we also need to be responsible and make sure there's no graft or deceit or any money leaving and going to a different country. I think Rand Paul was spot on when we said, let's put some oversight on this bill.
We covered a lot of ground in our interview, so in the interest of time, here are his answers to other questions.
I've been vocal about that. I think January 6th was a black eye on the country. The fact that it took 3.5 hours for him to come out and say enough's enough, I think he could have done more earlier. I've watched Joe Manchin work. I thought he sold out here at the end for the Inflation Reduction Act, but before that he was keeping his party in check. I liked some of the things that Tim Scott has done. Senator Scott's been a very big champion for school choice. I believe in school choice. I just was recently endorsed by Ron DeSantis. I think he could do a good job. I really like Secretary Pompeo. I've been endorsed by him as well. Nikki Haley I've been endorsed by, and I really like Tim Scott.
Michael Bennet is seeking a third term as U.S. Senator from Colorado. During the last 12 years, his focus has been on child poverty and taxing the wealthy to fund programs like the Child Tax Credit. Before the Senate, Bennet was superintendent of Denver Public Schools and chief of staff to then Denver Mayor John Hickenlooper, with whom he now serves in the Senate. Senator Bennet supported the infrastructure bill and the Inflation Reduction Act, signature victories for the Biden administration, as well as the COVID rescue plans. Now, Republicans blame that Democratic spending at least partially for this high inflation. So let's start there with Senator Bennet.
I think that is not a place where we can look to blame inflation. I believe that inflation has been caused by the recovery of an economy. The whole globe, was in a recession at the same time. It makes the COVID depression very unusual. And we came back all at the same time, and the supply chains just couldn't handle it. These supply chains that we had outsourced starting in the 1980s, when we were basically privileging people who wanted to make stuff as cheaply as possible in China over lots of other things we could have privileged, like our own supply chains. So now I think what we have to do is fix those supply chains to deal with inflation. Bringing back the semiconductor industry is the first step in that direction. From a legislative point of view, we just passed the Inflation Reduction Act, which has measures in it to cap healthcare costs, to cap drug prices for seniors at $2,000 a year for prescription drugs, to cap the price of insulin at $35, and for the first time in history to have Medicare negotiate drug prices on behalf of the American people.
So you think those things all will chip away?
I think those things will chip away. They're not going to chip away today. They're not going to do it immediately, but they are going to make a difference.
President Biden's approval rating is a dismal 42%. Yet, unlike many other Democrats, Bennett's not trying to distance himself from the president. They appeared together near Leadville in mid-October to designate a new national monument honoring the storied 10th Mountain Division, which fought in World War II.
Politically, why are you aligning yourself so closely with President Biden right now when a lot of other Democrats are not? Because he's not that popular at the moment, according to polls.
Well, if you're talking about the Camp Hale announcement in Colorado,
part, sure.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've worked on that for 10 years to honor the veterans of the 10th Mountain Division with a national monument, and I finally got the president and the White House to agree to do the national monument. And to me, having him come out here was not a matter of politics. I'm well aware of his approval ratings. It was the right thing to do for our veterans.
Since Russia invaded Ukraine in February, the U.S. has sent $17.5 billion in security assistance, which Bennet has supported. I asked the senator about continued U.S. support for Ukraine.
Should there be a cap on how much we give Ukraine, and if so, where is that cap?
Oh, I think the last thing we should do is send a message to Vladimir Putin that there's a cap. That's the last thing we should do.
Do you ever worry personally that our aid to Ukraine is going to escalate this thing further, bigger?
I don't worry that our aid to do it is going to do that if we are judicious about what we're doing. There were a lot of people early on who were saying, send them fighter jets, send them fighter jets. And that was viewed by some of us as escalatory in a way that could have created huge risk.
Bennet was in the Senate chamber when the mob attacked Capitol Hill. He's confronted by constituents who believe that the election was stolen, and he works in Congress with lawmakers who espouse the big lie as well.
Why do you want to voluntarily be in national politics now? This is it's crazy town right now. There's no agreement on who won an election.
Right.
2 and 2 doesn't necessarily equal 4.
Right.
So why do you want to voluntarily be part of that conversation?
I think that we need good people now more than ever, Shannon. I really believe that. We've had an economy for 50 years that's worked really well for the top 10% of Americans, but hasn't worked really well for 9 out of 10, including people in Colorado who can't afford housing or health care or higher education or early childhood education. And when that happens in a society, sometimes someone shows up and says, I alone can fix it. You don't need a democracy. You don't need the rule of law. you should expect your public sector and your private sector to be hopelessly corrupt. And that's the dark vision Donald Trump won on, and I don't agree with that.
We covered a lot of ground in our interview with Senator Bennet as well, so in the interest of time, here are his responses to other topics.
I would say cutting childhood poverty almost in half last year, reducing hunger by 25% as a result of the passage of My American Family Act, which is the enhanced child tax credit. That's one thing I'd say. If he decided to run, I think he would beat Donald Trump again, and I would support him. Let me talk to you sometime after this is over, but this campaign is what I've been focused on, and I think we're going to have a good day on Election Day.
Coming up, Jared Polis and Heidi Ganahl making their case to lead the state of Colorado, where the candidates for governor stand on rising crime, costs, and the future of reproductive rights. Stay with us.
Welcome back. The race for the governor's office is heating up. Incumbent Jared Polis is up for re-election, running against challenger Heidi Ganahl. I sat down with both candidates to get their takes on key issues impacting Coloradans, starting with the state of our economy. So what can you do at the state level as the governor to tackle this if we are facing a global recession?
Well, as governor, what I'd like to do is roll back a lot of the red tape that small business owners are feeling crushed by right now and reduce taxes and fees. The government has grown tremendously in the last 3.5 years, and the current leadership has put in 85 new taxes and fees that are really onersome on small business owners and the job creators in our state. So I'd also like to go to zero income tax, which is very ambitious, but we do it over 8 years. And Tennessee just did that and has one of the most thriving economies in the country now.
Governor Polis has also called for reducing the state income tax, but the two would make up for the cuts in different ways. If you cut the state income tax and therefore cut some of the money the state receives for its own coffers, how do you balance the budget? Can you point to anything you would cut from the state budget?
Well, a few different ways we'll do this. First of all, it's over time. It's over 8 years, so it's slow and steady. We're going to reduce the size of government a little bit back to where it was before the current governor took place. We're also going to do a hiring freeze. He's added 4,000 new full-time employees, so we need to slow that down. And then we'd also like to take to the voters of Colorado a proposal to change the way we get TABOR refunds, so they're permanent income tax reductions, and we change fees back to taxes, so they're in the general fund. The Common Sense Institute found those 4,000 employees amounted to a 6% increase in the government payroll. Governor Polis did tell me one way the state is saving some money is having employees work from home, reducing the need for office space. So are you prepared, and how will you tackle the challenges that a likely recession will bring on?
Who knows what the future will bring. What I can tell you is that Colorado is in the strongest budget situation we've ever been in. We've doubled our state reserves, our rainy day fund, since I took office. So we've been tucking away money for a rainy day. Inevitably, the economy goes in cycles, whether that's in 1 year or 5 years. You know, talk to 5 economists, they'll give you 8 different opinions, right? But we're ready. We have one of the lowest unemployment rates in the nation. We're below the national average, very strong economy. To a certain degree, the challenges that everyday Coloradans face are really come out of our economic success, meaning costs have gone up, like housing, and people are frustrated with the traffic. You know, those are signs the economy is strong, but we need to do something about the costs that have gone up. So if I have the opportunity to serve for a second term, you're going to see us lean into more housing close to where jobs are, reducing costs so families can get into home ownership and also have affordable rental opportunities for workforce near where jobs are.
On housing, both Polis and Ganahl have voiced the need to build more. How do you make sure that we can address the middle ground there? People who could afford a $300,000, $400,000 house, what houses cost here not too long ago, and we fear won't go back to. What do you say to those people in the middle?
Well, we've got to make sure that builders can build here and make it work. And right now, regulations are onerous. It's very difficult. As we've seen in the Marshall Fire, victims that are trying to rebuild, there's a lot of new restrictions on building up there, and it's made it very, very expensive. And that's happening all over Colorado.
What we need to do is we need to get some of the onerous requirements that suppress the quantity of housing out of the way to have more housing close to where jobs are. And also, you know, again, not just any housing. We need housing in the 3s and the 4s, 300s, 400s. That's what we need, right? I mean, there's always, you know, going to be demand for people buying $1 million homes and a few here and there. But what we really need are the 3 and 400s. And then we also need affordable access to rental for people that are an important part of our workforce.
Safety is also on the minds of voters amid increases in crime and drugs in Colorado. Deadly fentanyl overdoses are up almost 69% since 2020, and the Denver Metro ranks first in the nation for car thefts.
Every state is having a problem with crime post-pandemic, since the pandemic. What are the very first things you would do as governor to curb crime?
We are one of the worst states in the country, fourth worst actually. And fentanyl is a huge part of it, the drug problem here. We're second highest in increase in fentanyl deaths in the country, and I'm hearing more and more about that problem everywhere. So what can I do as governor? Well, I can make sure that we give law enforcement the tools and resources that they need to be able to solve these problems. And right now, they're telling me their hands are tied because of some decisions that were made, bills that were passed to decriminalize fentanyl, to also make us a sanctuary state. So ICE agents and law enforcement can't coordinate to stop fentanyl flowing across our southern border of Colorado. And also this catch and release kind of theory of law enforcement is not working at all. We have the highest auto theft in the nation right here in Colorado. So we've got to roll back some of this legislation. We've got to support law enforcement. I will make sure my very first dollar, my very first priority as governor is public safety.
You mentioned keeping the flow across our southern border and stopping that. How would you change things here so that police could work more effectively with federal agents?
So we have to cancel our status as a sanctuary state. That's a big block to letting ICE agents and law enforcement work together. And so that needs to go away. We need to make sure that any amount of fentanyl is a felony. And we've also got some other hard drugs that are, need to be a felony as well. Heroin, methamphetamine. There's a lot more than just fentanyl to the equation too. And then we need to make sure that we replace the folks on the parole board, replace the heads of Department of Justice, Public Safety, Corrections, and go back to a law and order philosophy as leaders and make sure that we protect the most vulnerable in our state, which is not happening right now.
How are you going to tackle this increase in crime?
Yeah, it is important to confront some of the misleading statistics my opponent uses head on. Now, we don't want to paint a pretty picture. It's a real problem. We have a plan to address it I want to get to. But we're 26th overall in crime. There's some categories we're lower. There's some categories we're higher. We talked about those. And this has been a problem nationally with the increase in crime. What we want to do is have a three-pronged approach to deal with crime. One, and we already started, by the way, goal, make Colorado one of the 10 safest states. So number 26, we want to be one of the 10 safest states. We're going to get there. Investing in law enforcement as part of our public safety package. By the way, law enforcement is predominantly local. People know that, locally funded. But the state is now helping. We are sending out grants for recruiting and retaining police officers, right? Number one. Number two, tougher penalties on many crimes. In auto theft, this is an issue. We've moved forward with tougher sentences on fentanyl. For instance, we're one of the first states in the country to create a new class of felony for pill presses. Even if there's just a trace amount of fentanyl, this is what's used to lace fentanyl in with other drugs, poisoning people, costing lives. We're prosecuting those as as felony prosecutions.
In 2019, Governor Polis signed a bill decriminalizing possession of up to 4 grams of fentanyl. This year, in wake of a wave of overdose deaths, lawmakers passed harsher penalties.
Are you willing to acknowledge that you have done things in the past that possibly led to an increase in crime, and why the turnaround now?
We always, want to improve on any piece of policy that we've done. I mean, I think most people get that when you're dealing with a drug dealer or somebody who's selling poison to our kids or to adults, you want them locked away. When you're dealing with an addict, you want to provide them help. Now, it doesn't mean that the criminal justice system doesn't have a role. Sometimes, a night in jail, a week in jail can help scare somebody straight. Other times, it doesn't. But, there's a role for that. But I don't think anybody's saying lock up somebody who just has the addiction side, right? You got to get them out of addiction.
We also tackled the issue of abortion. After Roe v. Wade was overturned earlier this year, Governor Polis signed the Reproductive Health Equity Act, guaranteeing the right to an abortion.
You represent Colorado, where I think voters have shown time and time again that they support some rights for women to end a pregnancy. I know you're pro-life. Are you representing your own values as governor, or are you representing the values of the majority of your constituents?
Well, I have so much compassion for women who are facing this difficult decision. I've had a bumpy road building my family, several miscarriages and kids later in life, but I think we've got to bring common sense back to Colorado, and so we've got to make abortion rare and safe. I don't think it's common sense that we're allowing abortions until a birth date of a baby. I just don't think that's where the heart of the people of Colorado is. So I have made a pledge that I will not make any changes. I will not sign any bills. I will take it back to a vote of the people of Colorado. I think that's the right path to bring us together and not divide us. But the bill that was passed was done without the will of the people of Colorado. And I don't think that's where we are, abortion until birth. So I'd like to take that back to Colorado and say, can we compromise? Can we find some common ground where we can all agree?
Literally, states that border Colorado, women, nurses, and doctors are facing criminal prosecution and jail time for the choices they make over their own body. One thing I want to make sure Colorado voters know is as long as I'm governor of Colorado, that will not happen here.
We will have women coming here from other states that have already banned abortions for the most part. Do you intend to go after any of the women or doctors providing
no.
abortions to them?
That's not a good path forward. I think we've got to find places to meet and compromise and have compassion, not divide.
Would you ever support a ban abortions after X number of weeks?
Well, look, we all share the goal of reducing the number of abortions. And I think the best strategy to do that is reducing unwanted pregnancies, which means empowering women to really be able to control their own reproductive health decisions, right? Access to birth control, the importance of consent. All of these things are a big part of how we can successfully reduce the number of unwanted pregnancies and abortions in our state. And that's really what our plan will do. And so at the end of the day, this should be between a woman and her doctor. The government bureaucrats should simply not be at that table. I support more freedom for all Coloradans.
Still ahead, you met some of the candidates. Now we are getting you ready to cast your ballot. We're breaking down the how, the where, and when to vote. That's next. Now here's some key dates. Mail-in ballots must be mailed by Monday, October 31st. Of course, voters can't drop off their ballots at drop-off locations, and check with your county to find out where those are. Election Day is Tuesday, November 8th. Polls open at 7 a.m., close at 7 p.m. And this is important. There is still time to register. You can find more information on registering, voting centers, and more by visiting votecolorado.gov. If you want to find more information on the candidates and all the propositions, statewide and local, we have put together a voter's guide on Denver7.com. Denver 7 is your election headquarters. We'll have live updates throughout the night of November 8th, keeping track of results as they come in. We'll see you then.